Okay, we're back from the break, and I wanted to put at the bottom of the screen that movie again that I'm hoping that you can find on iTunes or at your local video place. Just search the web for it. It's called Food Incorporated. It's a very enlightening movie, and I remember my daughters telling me about the movie, and I said, yeah, and I watched this movie, and it was very enlightening. It changed the way I eat. And one of the things it did change for me was about beef, and what the food raisers of this country do to our food sources, chicken, beef, and fish. And the only beef I like are actual game beef, game meat, and or elk. Buffalo is very good. Some people just don't like the taste. But grass-fed beef, natural grass-fed beef. What they do is they feed cows a bunch of corn, and what you'll see in the movie, and what I learned is that cows don't naturally eat corn, and it causes a lot of the E. coli and the other diseases that we get from meat. So it's very important that you shop for quality meat. Now, we all know that that's expensive, but as I've always stated, and I tell patients, you vote with your pocketbook. So if you're out buying more expensive meat and you shun the poorly raised or less nutritional value foods, you actually start to make people that produce better food more profitable, and that brings the cost down. And that's, and I know money is tight today, and times are hard, and shopping for better quality food is somewhat difficult, but it's those simple choices that you can make. With regards to fish, it has to be wild caught. Farm-raised fish is very high in fat, and I did this one time. I actually took a piece of salmon that was wild caught, frozen, and put it on the grill, and I had a piece of store-bought farm-raised salmon and put it on the grill. And after a few minutes of grilling, I was wondering who put this cream cheese dressing on my fish. Well, it was nothing more than the fat from the fish rising up out of that. And from that point on, I never, ever ate another piece of farm-raised fish. And these are the common mistakes that a lot of patients do. They think they're eating healthy when they're actually not. And those simple choices can make the difference. And what I'm going to try and walk into next is the idea about simple errors in metabolism. There's a number that you should keep in mind. 1 pound equals 3,500 calories. And so I can quickly look at your weight and based on your age and multiply your weight by a number, and usually get an idea of how many calories you eat in a day. For example, for a slow metabolism, now children have very high metabolisms. They'll eat maybe 30 calories per pound. As we get older, that obviously slows, and the adult is around 15 calories per pound, and the sedentary person might actually be even lower. But just to err on the side of correctness, I mean, if you weigh 250 pounds and you have a reasonably slow metabolism, you're eating 2,500 calories a day to maintain that weight of 250 pounds. And you think, I'm not eating that many, but are you really counting your calories? And a lot of people don't count their calories. And one of the media things out there that really, and I hear this over and over again, well, what do you eat? I'll say, oh yeah, I'll have oatmeal in the morning, or I'll have Cheerios. Well, what is that? Well, that's pure sugar. It's an oat. And so oatmeal is not really that good for your cholesterol, okay? But you've been, you watch TV and you see that that's what you should be eating. You feel good about that. All that does is raise your blood sugar, does the same thing we talked about earlier in this segment of the show, and that sets in motion that whole abnormal insulin secretion and why you're hungry shortly thereafter. So what do? You have oatmeal, you put a little fruit in it, and probably the fruit you might put in there might be a couple of raisins. They're pretty high in sugar. You might think oranges are really good. Well, obviously fruit that you peel has a lot more sugar than fruit with the skin on it. A banana has very high amylose. So we talked about that low amylose diet. Staying away from bananas is very crucial. And I can't tell you the number of people that have orange juice and bananas. Well, again, pure sugar. So if that's what you're eating, it's understandable that you're gaining or you're maintaining your weight and you can't lose weight. And along that line, if this happened to me more times than one. I had this one patient come in and she was just disgusted. She says, I've lived here 3 years and I've gained 30 pounds. And I thought, oh, wow, that's a lot. But let's do the math. 30 pounds is about 90,000 calories. If you multiply roughly, it could be a little bit more depending on what that is. There are 900 days in 3 years. If you do the math, that's 100 calories a day. That's all that lady ingested consistently for 3 years was an extra 100 calories a day, and she gained 30 pounds. And that's what I'm trying to say, that if it takes you, it's just simple math. If your weight is 200 pounds and you eat 2,000 calories a day to maintain that weight, and you eat 2,010 calories every day in 20 years, you will weigh 220 pounds. It's just that simple. And let's talk about that on the reverse factor, which is if you were to eat 1,990 calories a day consistently, guess what? In 10 years, you would lose 20 pounds. And 20 years, you would lose 20 pounds. So it's just a simple math problem. And you have to watch your calories, the amount of calories you're eating, and the type of food that you're eating. And so this is just how we try and educate patients about what they can make a positive impact on their particular dietary intake. And we ask them to take food diaries, and when I come back for break, we're going to talk a little bit about food diaries and any other questions. Please feel free to call in 727-8750. We're going to go to break now, and I'll be back in just a minute. Thank you.